In 1945, after World War II, United States Army Sergeant Paul Sutton, a former candy salesman, returns to San Francisco to reunite with his wife, Betty, whom he married following a whirlwind courtship the day before he departed for the Pacific. The war has left him with emotional scars, and he experiences flashbacks on a regular basis. Paul's reunion with Betty is strained, especially after he discovers that, although he has written her almost every day, she stopped reading his letters after the first few, and keeps the hundreds of unopened envelopes in a footlocker. He is determined to make a go of the marriage, however, and hopes to establish a new career for himself. She insists he continue to sell chocolates door to door, and he sets off to Sacramento. En route, he meets fellow train passenger Victoria Aragon, a graduate student whose Mexican-American family owns a vineyard in the Napa Valley. When Victoria is accosted by two men on their bus to Sacramento, Paul intervenes and ends up beating up the men in self-defense. After the three men are kicked off the bus as a result, Paul finds a crying Victoria alone. Further down the road, when he learns she is pregnant by her professor, Paul offers to introduce himself to her very traditionalist family as her husband. Victoria's father, Alberto, is infuriated, not only that she married a man below her social standing, but without his permission as well. Paul's initial plan to quietly slip away and continue on his journey, leaving her family to believe he abandoned her, is derailed when her grandfather, Don Pedro, encourages him to stay and help with the harvest during the harvest. Paul, an orphan, grows closer to the family and learns the joys that come with their tradition, roots, and way of life. He and Victoria try to ignore their growing attraction and feelings for each other, but with little success. After a couple of days together, she finds the courage to ultimately come clean and reveal the truth to her family. Further angering her father, Paul's honor prompts him to attempt to salvage his marriage and return home. But when he does, he discovers Betty is involved with another man. She has applied for an annulment, to which he happily agrees, and he returns to the Aragon estate to ask Victoria to marry him. When Paul returns, an argument with an angry and drunk Alberto leads to a disastrous fire which destroys the vineyard. However, Paul remembers one plant that may still have its roots intact, races off to retrieve it, and carries it to the family. The disaster, as well as Paul's bravery and dedication during it, has led to Alberto realizing his errors, and accepting Paul as one of his own, saying the roots of the plant are now officially Paul's roots. Victoria and Paul seal their fate in the presence of the entire Aragon family, and all set out to replant and rebuild with the help of their newest member.